Hi there and welcome to day 7 of Vlogmas. It's going to be another one me sitting down and chatting to you today. I'll be really honest, up until about half an hour ago, I didn't know what I was going to talk about, but I've just been watching the DVC Fan YouTube channel, which if you're thinking of buying DVC, you're already a DVC member, I highly recommend it, DVC Fan. And this week's episode was financing their contract. And I just thought it might be interesting to talk about how I bought my DVC contract, like where the money came from. I am self-employed and my income is like a lot of self-employed people. It's very, very sporadic. It doesn't come on one day of the month as a lump sum. It comes a couple of times a week. A client will pay me for something and then sometimes clients won't pay me and you'll have to chase it up. So having a personal loan where a big lump of money comes out on a single day of a month, let's say the 15th day of the month, I would find very nerve-wracking because I can't necessarily control my income to that level. And if it comes out on the same day as other direct debits, etc., it's a little difficult to look after. So I kind of went a bit of a different route when I financed my DVC contract. Now, I will say first of all that I did actually look down the personal loan route in the idea of being fully transparent. I knew I didn't want to get one from the DVC store that I went through because they use American credit agencies. They can't actually credit check you in the UK, so you end up with a phenomenal rate of interest. So I told them I'd pay cash and I thought I would get a personal loan in the UK, draw out the cash and pay cash to them. It's worth remembering that this purchase came as a result of me cancelling our 2020 Disney holiday. So I had the £6,000 returned from that holiday that I was going to use to pay off what was about £11,500. So I needed about £5,500. A hefty sum, but let's face it, a lot of people take out bigger loans on cars than that. I applied for a personal loan. I was very iffy about it. I don't like credit. Like I say, I've always been very suspicious of credit because of my financial circumstances. They've been like this since I was 21. I've had the same job. It's always been a bit flaky. So I applied through the bank and I got approved, and it said approved pending, I can't remember what the wording was, but they had to give me a phone call. So they gave me a phone call and said, when it said on the check down box, what are you using the money for? I ticked other. And they rung me up and said, oh, we've just got a question. It's all here, it's all ready, but you put other. Can you just specify what you're using it for? And I was stupid enough to say timeshare. And the minute I said timeshare, they said, we don't approve loans on timeshares. Boom, gone. So that's tip number 1. If you're looking for a personal loan, don't say timeshare. Now, I spoke to people since this who work in finance and they went, just tell them it's a kitchen. Just say it's a car. And apparently this is something you can do. I'm not comfortable with fibbing when it comes to money anyway, but there was a bit of me that was a little bit relieved because I have a neighbour who's also a DVC owner, and he's an accountant, good friend to have, and he said, just get a cash transfer on a credit card and then you can use a debt consolidation loan to pay off the credit card. So I shopped around, I went on Money Supermarket and I found a Virgin Money credit card where I was able to get a big enough interest-free 12-month cash transfer for the amount that I wanted with just a 2% fee. So remember, that means I won't pay any interest for 12 months and I only pay a 2% fee to start with, which works out being less than the interest would have been on your average personal loan anyway. So I did that. I was able to pay the company that I was buying the DVC resale contract off in cash. I then had a credit card for 12 months, 0% interest. At the end of the 12 months, which was 2 months ago, I then did a balance transfer to another 0% credit card, this time with 0 fee, because they quite like balance transfers, and that has extended this by another 18 months. However, the rate I'm paying it off, I intend to have paid it off in the next 10 months. So I have to stress, I have no financial training or knowledge whatsoever. This was a route that worked well for me, with a little bit of advice from friends to make sure I wasn't doing anything completely crazy. And I'm not telling you to go out and do the same, but I know that I've always say that we've got, you know, Polynesian tastes on pop century budgets, and that's why we bought DVC in the first place. So people quite often say, how do you afford it? Well, this is the answer. Half of it was done by the holiday. Half of it has been spread out over, in the end, it'll be a little over 2 years on 0% credit cards. And then hopefully by the end of that, I will once again save the mortgage on the house, be debt-free, because I am not a debt fan. Have to stress that so nobody follows in my footsteps. But it does mean that for the next 30 years, we will have our hotels paid for a little. At the moment, it's about £700 in management fees a year, so that will rise with inflation. But if you think of the equivalent of £700 a year for a fortnight in a Disney Deluxe hotel every year, it kind of seems worth it. So that was a really potted history of how I afforded and how I do currently pay for our DVC membership. I hope it was a little bit interesting. I'd love to hear how you've navigated waters like this, whether you did go for the American loan and take the security but with the higher interest, or whether you had little tricks that you could do once you're in the UK. I know one person at least who took the American loan and then refinanced in the UK like as soon as they got back to avoid the high interest rate. But of course the securest and easiest thing to do is take the Disney loan if you're buying direct with Disney DVC. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you have any tips for anyone else. So that was Vlogmas Day 7, and I will see you tomorrow.